well, thank you for joining me here on this beautiful, is it Tuesday, I think? It's flying all night, it's Tuesday, great, awesome. I'm the CEO of Blackwolf, and here to talk to you today about what we think and believe our opportunity is that makes us stand out and quite a bit different than others, including a recent major discovery in the gold space. Am I hitting the right button? There we go. Got a cautionary statement. If I read this to you, we won't have any time left. All right, one of the key things, let's talk about why Blackwolf is what it is and what we really think our value is. When you look at the mining space, you generally look for something not only that has rocks, but has a team that can execute on it and has good financial backing. That carries you through these rough times like right now, doesn't sink your ship, lets it stay afloat. Well, I'd like to talk about our strategic investor, Mr. Frank Justra. Came into the company in April for a fair-sized check. He's now just about 14% an investor. Came in recently, again, in our last financing. We just closed on $3.3 million or $3.28 million. So he's what we call our strategic investor, one of our three pillars of what we think makes Blackwolf a little more unique and drives value for us. And we'll talk about the projects last, but I'd love to talk about the leadership. So Rob McLeod, third-generation miner from Stewart, BC. We're really focused on the Golden Triangle, so that's where a lot of experience comes from in that area. Major discoveries are made by the McLeod family, including Bruce Jack, which is, Bruce McLeod, Jack McLeod, that's created Bruce Jack. One of the unique things about Rob is he's tenacious about exploration. I definitely consider him, and many that know him would consider him, one of the last great pioneers in the exploration field. And I don't say that lightly, because if you meet Rob, you'd understand he's a through and through geologist that can actually talk to people. It's kind of nice. He is the chairman of the board. He was the CEO before I took over. He brought me in, let's say. And when we did that, we purchased a company called Optimum Ventures. That was an Andy Bowering company that brought in the Harry project in BC. And this, Andy, if you know Andy's background, he was the founder of Prime Mining, American Lithium, has sold about 5 other companies his career. But one of the key things about Andy is he actually worked with Rob 20 years ago in the Golden Triangle and sold the silver coin deposit to Ascot. So right next to our Harry deposit is the silver coin deposit. So entrenched knowledge of the area, not only the geology side, but the entire area knowledge from the people, strong relationships with the First Nation, the Nisga'a in that area. Rob's curated that over 20 to 30 years. So we're positioned well on the leadership side and the strategic investor side, but what really drives the value on the rocks side? My team made me put value up there. I had rocks first. I prefer the word rocks. The whole thing is the value. Let's start about the Harry project. The Harry project's in the BC side of the Golden Triangle, and you'll understand why I differentiate the BC side and the Alaska side, because we are the only company working on the Alaska side of the Golden Triangle. So the Harry project is sandwiched between Ascot and Scotty, right in the middle. We consider it the missing link in the triangle, which when we show you the map, we'll understand why. They had some past drilling results in 2021, 15 meters of 1,500 grams silver equivalent, another 9.5 of 1,800 grams silver equivalent. So that intrigued us. Rob, knowing the geology in that area, said, hey, I think this is an opportunity to have a pigeonhole in an area that looks like it's going to be consolidated or desperately needs to be. Our second property is our Cantu property. These are very close to each other in relation. Cantu is on the Alaska side of the Golden Triangle. It's kind of the Indiana Jones story, and when we get to it, I might have some questions for the audience on Indiana Jones. But this is a brand new discovery, a brand new open for discovery area, has not been touched, and when you look at the Golden Triangle, there's not many places that have had the opportunity to not be looked at or had past results, past mining, but due to glaciers receding, it's definitely opened up a brand new area for discovery in the Alaska side of the Golden Triangle, directly across from Ascot. And last but not least, and I don't know why I always put it at the last one, but we are backed by a 6 million ton VMS deposit called Niblack, Southeast Alaska. It's on the Prince of Wales Island. It's right on Tidewater. It's got 1.2 kilometers of underground drift. It's a copper, gold, zinc, and silver deposit, and it's fairly high grade. We'll get into that as we go through the presentation. That's my IR people. So a bit on our location. We talk about the Golden Triangle and our properties. We call them the Hyder properties and the Harry property. Hyder properties on the Hyder side of the Golden Triangle, the Alaska side. And the Harry property is that one that we talk about sandwiched in between. So there's a good overview. One of the things about the Golden Triangle which really drew me in to work with Rob, and you can see by this slide, is the M&A that happens there is huge. When it happens, it's massive. Bruce Jack being bought out for 3.6 billion Canadian by Newcrest, which is now Newmont. Newmont surrounding a lot of the other discoveries in the area, including Ascot. Ascot putting a mine back into production, which the Premier mine used to be the highest grade producer in North America for years. So you have this ultra high grade area, you have discoveries being made, and you have M&A that has recently happened. So we think it's not only a great position to be, but with Rob's expertise and Frank's backing, we now have a clear path to discoveries and hopefully more. Quickly want to review the Harry project. I told you about where our location is. Between Ascot and Scotty, we are actually sandwiched right in the middle of that trend. So you can see on the bottom side, you see Ascot's, all their different claim packs and their resources. And you go up to the old past producing Scotty mine, and there's nothing in between. That's us. That's the Harry project. We acquired that company in September. Now, what was unique about this was, as we acquired the company, we were drilling our Cantu project, which is in the southeast side of, which is in Alaska, about a couple kilometers away. And we made the call. We bought this company. We took the shares, did all that fun stuff, and we said, wow, we bought this project. We should probably drill it before winter, because I'm pretty sure people would be unhappy if we just spent that kind of money to buy a project. So we said, well, how big of a program can we run? Budget, if this thing works. Just 1 second. Next slide. There we go. All right, next slide. Perfect. Thank you. Broken. So we get in 4 holes, and our geologist phones me. She goes, so we're under budget. I'm like, well, under budget's a relative term. Like, are we $10 under budget, or are we $500,000 under budget? She's like, we're $500,000 under budget. So Rob and her and we all were up on site, and we said, well, we should keep drilling. So we decided we were going to double the program and then double the holes we were going to drill. And on our 6th hole, with Rob's knowledge of literally doing this and going, the geology goes that way, we smacked a very nice visible gold vein. Pretty cool discovery. We decided we were going to rush half that hole. We got our results back about 2 weeks ago now. The visible gold ran 312 grams per ton, so 10 ounces. And a secondary part of this hole ran 8.5 ounces, 277 grams, that we actually didn't see. It wasn't visible. It was a part of the whole hole we wanted to get out, with some good silver kickers, so 100 grams plus on each hole. What's unique about this is, in Rob, and I'm not a geologist, I'm an engineering nerd. In Rob's terminology, this is a ladder-style mineralizing system that is very similar to Bruce Jack. So Bruce Jack goes after these 1-meter vein systems. They bulk mine them over 10 or 15 meters. They dilute out the grade. Now you've got 8, 10 grams per ton over 10, 15, 20 meters. Now you can bulk mine this. But what's important is that ladder effect. So that secondary grade that we hit, that 277 grams, was 60 meters down hole. And it's about 10 meters before we stopped the hole. So we drilled more holes around it, and we do have those results coming. But we do like that in our first acquisition that we made a pretty cool gold discovery. And it's one of these rare occasions that we haven't had to put 109 holes into Lake Escay to find this so far. So we're looking to expand this in the near future. Looking forward to our results coming out of Harry. But that's that missing link in the Golden Triangle that between Ascot and Scotty, now showing visible gold. Also higher in the system, silver, lead, zinc, copper. So very, very promising going forward to turn into something that we think could be, hopefully, another Bruce Jack or Premier. Can I get this to work now? Oh, there we go. All right. Let's talk about Cantu. I always like this slide. So when I first joined the company, Rob came to me and I'm like, Rob, you're a great friend of mine. Show me something different. And he pulls out this piece of parchment paper from the 1920s. And how many people in here are actually fans of Indiana Jones? Like, raise your hand. Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of legendary stuff, right? And so when he pulled out this piece of parchment paper in front of me, I was sitting with him and Frank Juster at the time, and I look at this and I go, that's a treasure map. Rob looks at me, he's like, if you call me Indiana Jones, I will kill you. So I thought that was kind of entertaining, but I'm definitely going to call him the Indiana Jones of the Golden Triangle. Because on this map from the 1920s, an old timer gave it to him in a bar, said, look, have you looked at the Cantu mountainside of the Golden Triangle? This is about 1 kilometer directly across from Ascot. You can stand on Cantu Mountain, you can see the mill, you can see all the infrastructure, there's a road, there's Cantu Mountain. He thought it was interesting, and Rob goes, look, my family's from there, I've driven past there, there's nothing there. All right. And then let it sit for a couple days, and there's Rob's curiosity, gets in a helicopter and goes up there, and boom, there's a whole bunch of outcropping veins. Next slide. Horribly timed. So there's these two 30-meter veins that were outcropping. Unless you knew where to look, you couldn't see them. 2 old tramways up there, and there's 2 very small adits that were done by the old timers off the glaciers back in the day. If you saw the pictures from the 20s, the glacier basically came right up to just a little bit below here that they could tram access this. So when you get in there, we started, we're like, hey, this is on the side of a cliff. How are we going to get up there? Let's get some rock climbers. And most geologists aren't rock climbers, so we just had rock climbers go up. They pulled out 1 ounce gold plus 1,000 grams silver, multiple percentages of copper, all the way down in the float. And so Rob in his geological wizardry said, I think we have what we could consider a feeder system here for the Premier and the Scotty, just the way it all looks. So we said, well, we probably should pop some holes in this. So we started drilling it, and not only did we hit the vein sections that were protruding into the mountain, we hit mineralization, alteration that looked just like a porphyry system. So now these 2 holes to make a discovery would be fun, I'm sure. So we're very hopeful, we're knocking on wood. But it definitely gave us a larger geological understanding now to either hopefully great results from this, we still don't have them back yet, and then vector in on the rest of the area. This area is largely undiscovered, unknown. Not many people have actually stepped foot in the back area because the glaciers were covering it. So we went, sampled it, mapped the whole back area. There's a ton of sample results that will be coming out over the next probably 3-4 weeks. But we have a lot more drill targets that we can hit in this area. So again, 1 kilometer from Ascot, completely undiscovered because it's the Alaska side of the Golden Triangle. So, swap the sandbag for the jewel, hopefully here, kind of Indiana Jones style. That's what we'd like to do. So that's Cantu, that's our Alaska side of the Golden Triangle. But last but not least, I've got 6 minutes left here, let's talk about our resource. And this is something that was misunderstood for many years. Given that it's copper, zinc, silver, gold, we consider it a strategic metal at Niblack. It's southeast Alaska. In the 6 million tons, we have about 120 million pounds of copper at just under 1%. We have 345,000 ounces of gold at just under 2 grams, 5.5 million ounces of silver at about 24 grams, and 1.7% zinc for 200 million pounds. And why that's important is that that's a good, anyone that knows VMS deposits, it's a good starting point. But it was always thought that Niblack was cut off. When we got it, it had been kind of passed around through a couple other companies, and Rob and a PhD student from UBC decided, well, the PhD decided he was going to do his PhD out there. Rob went out with him, and they figured out that the geology, the geological model out there was overturned. What that did is it opened up new zones. So we went out there in 2020 and 2021. One of the drill holes we hit was on the old Niblack mine area, which is not a part of the resource. The resource accounts for Lookout and Trio only. And when we hit that, it was 44 meters of 2% copper with just about 3 grams gold, some silver, and some zinc. What that did is it proved out that the model that Rob has for this, given the geology is overturned, is now highly expandable. So we originally got this at 10 million tons. We downgraded it to 6. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but we want to be more realistic with the numbers that we provide to the public and more factual. So now this is a project that is highly expandable. It's a resource that backs our valuation, and it's on tidewater with 1.2 kilometers of underground drift already driven at production size 5x5. So a lot of the de-risking here from a bulk tonnage mining environment has been taken. As you can see, there's significant expansion potential in its current resource state and its current resource area, not only in the areas that we've defined to expand from surface and underground. So it gets pretty exciting when you pull grades like 2% copper over 44 meters, as you probably saw with like Hercules Silver and other companies pulling grades like that. But having that 3-gram gold kicker makes it pretty special. One of the unique aspects of having a diverse team, my background, and I'll explain it a bit, is mine building. I worked for Freeport in Indonesia, spent a lot of time at Oyu Tolgoi in Mongolia, helped put a mine into production in Ghana, spent some time in Peru, building there, as well as in the Arctic. I was the engineering manager for Spina. So all that leading to how does that help Blackwolf? Well, we looked at Niblack and we said, how do we extract the most amount of value with the least amount of money into it, right? So we said, there is a site nearby called New Mali. They're fully permitted. They're in Kitsault, BC. They're fully permitted mill site, unbuilt mill. And what's unique about that is they were open to doing a study where we could joint feed them in hub and spoke models. So we just finished phase 1. It looked very, very promising. We're going to phase 2 of this study, and phase 3 is more so a PEA level study. What this did for us is not only did it allow us to take a first principles approach at how we expand this resource, but it allowed us to see, high level economics of, so if we doubled it, what would happen? If we tripled it, what would happen? Do we need to do that right away to make this project viable in this model? So we'll be updating the market on that further in short order. But what you're all here for is catalysts and outstanding shares. 122 million outstanding shares, went to raise $2.5 million above market. Some people thought I was crazy. So we raised 3.28. Frank cut in a fair-sized check into that, I think $750,000. That was all hard dollars, not flow. Raised at 24 cents. I think when we opened the raise, it was 23. And that puts us in a strong cash position of about 6.4 million currently in the bank, coming into potential drill season here at Niblack and other properties coming up. So we're in a strong cash position. Okay, too far. Now it's working. So catalysts for growth. This is the thing everyone wants to know. How are you going to grow Blackwolf? How are we going to make money? What are the fundamentals that are going to keep this story driving over the winter? Well, we're one of the only companies in the Golden Triangle that can work all year round. That's exploration because of Niblack. It's on tidewater. I'd say there's probably 2 months we don't want to work, which is December because no one wants to go to work in December, and January because they're still hungover from December. But no, it's really it gets pretty rough seas out there. So that's one way we're looking at it. The other thing is the results coming from the Harry project where we hit that visible gold. The rest of the drill holes around there, the other 6.5 drill holes, because that was only a half of one. The results from Cantu, given the whole kind of Indiana Jones story, new discovery, 2 holes went into it. Hopefully something comes out of it. It's not Hunger Games here. And then the advancement of wrap-ups. You saw that we did an M&A with purchasing the Harry project. We're not against, and we're actively looking at further M&A in the district. Having Rob's background and Frank's backing gives us a unique leverage and position to assess projects, their valuations to Blackwolf, and how we drive this forward quickly. As you see, 5 months ago we started. We hadn't drilled in 2 years. We drilled 2 projects in the last 5 months. We've done an acquisition. We've done a financing. We've added Andy Bowering to the board, major shareholder, and we've hit visible gold. I can tell you I'm pretty excited about having a team that can do that and fairly honored to be here. So thank you very much, guys. Any questions?